Okay, so Force and Destiny. Here we go. This guy right here. All right, the mechanics of this game is pretty much the same as Edge of the Empire and Age of Rebellion, save a few little twists such as the Force mechanics, which I'll get into in a moment. Below, I'm going to link a cover of the cover art. I took a picture of it. It's not really going to show up well on the camera. I've already tried. So, anyway, on the cover, we're going to notice a big difference between the other two games, where they had two prominent characters from the original movies in them. Edge of the Empire had Han and Chewie. Age of Rebellion has Luke and Leia. This one has nobody on it. All you see is the Jedi Temple, one of the few big icons from the prequels, pretty much controlled by the Empire. We got the Red Guard marching in, an Imperial shuttle, stormtroopers, TIE fighters flying overhead. So it's a big standout. So it really kind of sets you up for the feel of the game inside and the way they've got it portrayed. So when we open up the book, we're going to see a few things really quickly. Great artwork that shows, as the introduction is Vader, of course. You know, Force, you're going to think him. We've got old Obi-Wan Kenobi further in, but we're going to get into the mechanics of things real quick. The mechanics remain the same, save that we're going to see a lot more Force dice use this time around. And Force dice are pretty much how you do this thing for any Force powers now. They've got it pretty well set up here. In case of Force uses, you're going to have some minor things. You can use dark side points that you'll generate, but it'll put some strain on you if you're a light side user. If you're a dark side user, light side points will put a little bit of strain on you. And it kind of goes up toward the end of the game to see which side of the Force that you start to play toward. They really make the Force more of an active, living thing for Force users here. So you've got to be very sensitive about how you use your Force and which way you want to go. Now, as that goes, you know, you can build up just like in the other game, just like you build your character class to your talents and abilities, you build your Force the same way. If you have something, say, Force Push, which is actually a totally different thing, but it is encompassed in this one ability. I'm actually flipping through the book right now. Here's the Force. As you can see, beautiful artwork again. And a hint to the extended universe and a lot of their artwork. Now, if you have things like battle meditation, you can go down your tree and increase its magnitude, which is the amount of how to put this. In the case of a physical Force power, it increases, you know, number of things you can affect when you push something, pull something. Ironically, one thing that you would think would be in here would be lightsaber throw is actually a talent in most trees. So it's not a Force power. It's an actual talent you have to expend in your job class to get. So they've got a lot of them here. So I'll go through the Force powers for you guys. Battle meditation, bind, enhance, which increases your Force powers. Bind is kind of Force choke, lifting somebody up. It deals with the specifics very well. Foresight, you know, or foresee, you know, you can be Anakin. Oh God, people are gonna die. Oh, boo-hoo, fucking, ooh, no, Anakin, no, blah blah blah. There's the Force ability to heal or harm, so you can wounded friends. You can roll, see if you got some light side points to heal strain, heal actual wounds, get them up and going. You can keep your team going. They really plays or harm. You could walk up and just and, you know, cause wounds, harm, strain, really do a lot. It really plays to both sides of the Force when we start to get into these powers. Influence, these are not the droids you're looking for, that kind of thing. It can get really massive, really powerful. You can increase its strength, durations on all of these things. It's got misdirection. I'm not actually here. You know, that's the quickest way to explain it because it works best with later job classes. There's the Force power of move. We all know that one. I don't think I need to explain move. Protect and unleash. This is where you would have Force shields. You know, you would generate a Force shield, or you would generate Force lightning. Now again, you could take one or the other, and you can really use it. But Force, these ones when it's split, you need a light side point for one or a dark side point for the other. You can take some internal conflict. They call it conflict at the end of the thing when you generate this to see if you're a dark side user, you use light side points. You're going to generate some conflict, and it's going to make you start leaning toward one side of the force or the other. So if you want to be a neutral force user, you've got to balance your how much good and how much dark you use. Seek, if you've played Force Unleashed, you've seen Starkiller use this. Starkiller used this ability to head to Dagobah to figure out where the Death Star was in the first one. So, obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory here so far. Again, every single one you can improve its ability, how you control it, everything. There's Force Sense, Obviously, we know this one. We've seen it in the movies. Vader and his, I've sensed a present I haven't sensed in many years and such. And that's your Force powers. And again, each one increases in magnitude. You go into more detail on each one. I'm not going to go into a vast amount of detail on this because it is heavily detailed in what you can do and what will come from it. So, really, Force powers in this game really play out. They really work great for a player and for a GM to create an NPC. Really customized. You can have two guys with the same power, and they each have a different way that they manipulate and use it. So it's really cool, and it really helps to make sure that the player actually has a customized character to them. And as I've said, it works like the other ones, so what you're spending is experience points to build your Force power. So the better you play and gain, the more experience points you earn, the better it is for you, and the better your character ends up being. Now, in this game, just like the other ones, you've got your races, and your races are pretty cool. The official version will change. Again, this is the beta, and so far the beta has changed. I'm not going to go into the changes that have occurred because it's kind of a lot more research for me to do than I care to, and I'm lazy. So our races so far in this book are and forgive me if I butcher it because I am me and I will butcher pronunciation. The Sirens, big-headed people that we remember. Humans, the Kildor, the Merlarian, the Merlanes, Nautolan, Tugurta, Twi'leks, and Zabrax. Now, they've done a change already to the Zabrax. I don't like it. I would more, if it comes out the official version has the Zabrax that way, I'll apply the difference to the Dathmarians because they are essentially going to be statted the same way. Let's be honest, there's not going to be a big change between the two. But, as I said, I'm not going to go into these things. And the races are pretty nice. They've each got their little special abilities, their little quirks to it. Humans being humans. They've got more skills than most people. The Twi'leks are really cool. It's and anybody except for a droid is available. So in past books, you can go back and be a Wookiee Force user, apparently. So they've really kept it pretty open, and it's pretty fun. I'm going to go now into the job classes for everybody. There are several careers and specializations that are occurring. The first set that you run into is the counselors. Counselors are, they tend to focus and achieve goals through peace, harmony, love. Hey, baby, don't fight. Come on, let's talk this out. Their specializations include healers, Neman disciples. This is a lightsaber class. Sage. And those three are the specializations for the counselors. Something you need to know about this is that you can actually build more dice for your force pool and your force powers by taking certain classes that will have a force rating inside of its talent tree. By doing this, you increase, again, your force pool so that you have more if you want to be a Jedi, which is possible, and I'll get toward the end of this segment here. Anyway, the next class, again, force rating, it's a good thing. Make sure you got it. Very few lightsaber classes actually have force rating. So if you find one that has one, like the Neman Disciple is one of these rare ones, and these guys are not your, each one is unique class. Again, we know this if you've paid attention to the extended universe. These are the self-defense and, type classes. The next one that comes up is Guardian. And its specializations include the Peacekeeper. This is somebody that tries to work with forces. They're a semi lightsaber class, but not completely. They're more of a, I would want to say, Qui-Gon. Just my opinion. Don't jump on me if I'm wrong. There's Peacekeeper, the Protector, and of course the dedicated lightsaber class is a Soroshu Defender. Again, if I butchered it, please don't get angry. That's just me. They're pretty cool. Again, like I said earlier, everyone has kind of the lightsaber throw hidden in here somewhere. The next class is the Mystics, and the Mystics really are cool. They focus with the Force a lot more than other guys do. So they've got the Advisor class with it. These are the people that sit behind the shadows and manipulate things. Everybody's favorite Count Dooku class, the Makashi Duelist. That is your dedicated lightsaber force and lightsaber user inside of the Mystics. And the Seer. The Seers are your future tellers, that kind of thing. And they've got some really cool, everybody's got really cool talent trees. Again, I'm not going into them. I could spend hours talking about each tree. The next class is the Seeker. Seekers are the guys that tend to operate out on the fringes of society and out in the wilds and helping out colonists out in the middle of nowhere. That includes the Ataru Striker. That is your dedicated lightsaber class here. The Hunter, the Pathfinder. Hunter, Pathfinder, pretty obvious sounding. Hunter means that they go out and they hunt things down. This doesn't mean that they use a lightsaber. They might use a blaster, and it does let the Force help them with their shots and everything. So it is kind of cool when you get into the details. Pathfinder is somebody that finds paths out in the wild. They're your scouts. Pretty close to their namesake. So, no need to go into too much detail. The last one is, I don't think this is the last one. This might be the last one. It's the Sentinel class. The Sentinels include the Artisan, which is kind of like young Anakin when you meet him. He can build a droid. He's building a pod racer. The Artisans really use the Force. They're your Force mechanic. And their talent tree really plays onto them being able to fix a ship in the middle of battle, fix a ship in the middle of hyper jump, how to repair the hyper. They're kind of like R2-D2 alive. What do you want me to say? The next is my favorite class, the Shadow. These are your almost like Force ninjas. They operate on the fringes of the law, the fringes of society. They can be on the good side or the dark side. They're very much misdirection. They don't like to be. They manipulate people's minds to not be seen. Then there's the dedicated lightsaber class, the Shin Expert. Okay, and they wield their lightsabers pretty much from a sense of agility and power. It is just hit you, strike you down. Of course, if you know the extended universe, you don't really need me explaining this. The last class is the Warrior. So there was one more, see? I'm jackass like that. The Warrior includes the Aggressor. Namesake says it all, man. These guys use their presence to intimidate and try to make all conflicts go, bam, downhill just because they're there. Some hope it doesn't come to violence. Some do, so you can see where the light and the dark side plays in here. The next one is the Shicho Knight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can guess that's the dedicated lightsaber user class. These are the guys that kind of read to me as your... they kind of read like Obi-Wan, honestly. And the last one is the Starfighter Ace. So, again, Force user that is dedicated pilot. So, really, when you look at this stuff and the way this game plays, just like the other ones, you could build yourself the ultimate Jedi or Sith, because no one is dedicated to one side of the Force or the other. So you could really get into it. You could take, say, Shicho Knight to start with, jump over and take the Shadow and become a really aggressive kind of Shadow fighter and go from there. You could effectively build Luke in this, and I believe the role for Luke was to start out with, you could start out any way you want. You could go with the Colonist originally in the Edge of the Empire, take Force Exile user. Once you have that, you could then go over to Starfighter Ace, go from Starfighter Ace to Shochi Defender, or Shochu Knight, right there, and then to Seeker or something else, and you would have a Force user that really branches all varieties. You could do Yoda with Makashi Duelist, or start with Sage, go to Makashi Duelist after that, then go to a Seer. Really plays well. This game also includes everybody's favorite weapon, as you've noticed, because they've got classes dedicated to it, lightsabers. And the lightsaber varieties are 3 basic varieties. Your short lightsaber, which includes your kind of Billy Club looking one. I'm trying to flip to it right now to give you the exact names. Your classic lightsaber and your lightsaber pike. They've got multitudes of modifications and different crystals, thanks to Mr. Jason Marker, who apparently worked on this. They are amazing. Each crystal, obviously, just like in the other game of Crystal, costs you hard points to put on your lightsaber. You can start with just a handle. You can build your own lightsaber from dust. They've got all those rules right here. Again, the beta has tweaked some things as things have gone, so I haven't kept up online. Again, I've been kind of swamped with reality, so you know. It does include vehicles. Again, I'm sure some people are huge vehicle whores for Star Wars. I'm not going to go into the details of each little vehicle that's in here. They do include different ones. If you have been paying attention to the other games, you will be surprised. Some of this includes some extended universe vehicles. Some of it includes straight out of the movies vehicles. There is a lightsaber class that is missing. If you are a really big fan of the extended universe, you will notice that I did not mention, I believe it was Mace Windu's lightsaber class. I believe that'll show up in later editions, hopefully with a few more force-sensitive races. As it stands, it compares really well and functions right now, the beta, as is, without using any of the current changes that have occurred. Functions really well with Edge and Age of Rebellion. So if you've been collecting this and liking this series, I'm going to give this one, at beta form without the official form right now, 8.5 out of 10. And that's pretty high for a beta on anything, I think. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this really gives you some insight into it. Again, any real questions you got for me, just pop it off, and I'll try to answer them in the comments below. So, thanks.